There are moments in life that don't need sound to hit you like a punch. That was me, standing in section 117, row G, seats 12 and 13, holding 2 large sodas and a foam finger for my 10-year-old son, Ryan, and staring straight at my wife Monica, sitting in our seats, with a man I'd never seen before. She was laughing. Her hand was on his knee. Ryan was still down the aisle behind me, stopping to look at a jersey stand. He didn't see it yet, but I did. The way she leaned into him, the way he looked at her like they were someplace private. Their bodies were too close. Their expressions too relaxed. That wasn't a friendly conversation, that was familiarity. And those were our seats. I'd bought them 2 weeks ago, printed the confirmation, sent her the screenshot when I got the email. Monica had told me she had to stay late at the clinic that night, said they were short-staffed, said she felt bad missing out but that I should still take Ryan. Make it a father-son thing, she said with that easy smile I used to believe without thinking. Turns out, I wasn't the only one with plans. I stood there too long enough that someone behind me said, "You gonna move, buddy?" I blinked, nodded, turned toward the aisle and caught Ryan jogging up with a huge grin. "Dad, they had a signed ball, can we go back after the 3rd inning?" I swallowed hard, trying to reset my voice. "Sure, bud. Let's go find some other seats for now." He looked confused. "Why not ours?" I glanced toward the section again. Gone. Monica and the man were both gone. She must have seen me. I forced a smile. "We'll talk about it later." He didn't press. Just followed me as I guided us to a couple of open spots near the nosebleeds. The view was terrible, the air colder, but I kept my arm around his shoulder, held him tighter than usual. I didn't watch the game. I watched my phone. No messages. No missed calls. No, "sorry," or "I can explain." Just the quiet space where trust used to live. And for the first time, I let the thought hit me. She's been lying for a long time. By the time we got back to the truck, the city lights had started to dim and Ryan was fast asleep in the back seat, clutching the foam finger like it meant the world. He didn't notice I barely spoke the entire ride home. Didn't notice I missed 3 exits. Didn't notice I was gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles were white. But he did notice the silence. "You okay, Dad?" he mumbled as I turned into our neighborhood. I forced a breath through my nose. "Yeah, bud. Just tired." He nodded and leaned back, already drifting off again. It was just after 11 p.m. when I pulled into our driveway. Monica's car wasn't there. I wasn't surprised. I carried Ryan inside, tucked him into bed like nothing was wrong. Like I hadn't just watched his mother sitting with another man in the seats I bought for our family. I brushed his hair back, kissed his forehead, whispered, "I got you." And I meant it. Because now more than ever, that kid was all I had that made sense. I sat on the edge of our bed, staring at Monica's side, her pillow still indented, her perfume lingering in the sheets. I picked up my phone and opened our shared location app. She'd turned it off. The move was subtle, but not new. I'd caught it before. Always had an excuse. Phone died, app glitching, battery saver mode. I'd believed her every time. Now I knew better. At 12:26 a.m., headlights flicked across the window. I stayed still. Door opened. Keys dropped into the bowl by the entryway like always. Then, footsteps. She walked into the bedroom, freezing when she saw me sitting there. Her hair was up, earrings off, jacket folded over her arm like she'd just come back from the grocery store, not an affair. "Hey," she said, soft, cautious. "You're back early." I looked at her. Long and hard. "I saw you," I said. She blinked. "What?" "At the game. Section 117. Our seats. You weren't alone." Her face changed instantly. Not panic, not shock, but calculation. Like her mind was already flipping through explanations, ready to perform. "Colton," she began. "Don't lie." Her mouth opened, closed. She set the jacket down. "It wasn't what it looked like." "Then tell me what it was." She swallowed, looked away. Her voice dropped to that rehearsed whisper I now hated. "He's a friend. I didn't expect you to be there. It was supposed to be his birthday thing, and our seats, Monica. You sat in our seats." I stood up. She stepped back, not in fear, but because she knew there was nothing left to spin. I continued, voice low and steady. "You told me you were working late, told me to take Ryan, make it a father-son night, but you were already sitting there when we got there, laughing, touching him." Tears welled in her eyes, not sadness. Guilt catching up too late. "Colton, I never meant to hurt you." I nodded slowly. "But you did. And you didn't just hurt me. You put yourself in front of our son. You risked him seeing what I saw. You didn't even check to see if he was okay. She wiped her face, mascara streaking. I messed up. I looked her in the eyes for the last time that night. No. You chose to throw away what we built. You chose him. Don't act like it was an accident. She didn't speak, didn't deny it. And in that silence, I knew everything I needed to know. I grabbed my jacket and walked out the door. I didn't even pack a bag. I just needed air. Because trust doesn't shatter all at once. It breaks slowly. Then one night, it disappears completely. I didn't go far that night. Just sat in the truck, engine off, keys in my lap, staring through the windshield at nothing in particular. The street was quiet. Every house dark, peaceful. You'd think the world was asleep, tucked neatly into their beds. But inside my chest, it felt like a war zone. I kept replaying it. Her laugh, his hand on her leg, the way she looked at him like I didn't exist. Like the last 10 years of our marriage had been someone else's life. I wasn't angry. Not yet. What I felt was worse. Disbelief. Because even when you see it, when the lie is clear, alive, in color, some part of you still whispers, maybe there's an explanation. But there wasn't. At 1:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. One text. Monica, please come back. Let's talk before Ryan wakes up. Before he wakes up. Not before she loses me. Not before she owns what she did. Just before her lie becomes inconvenient. I turned the screen off and sat in silence. I must have dozed off at some point because the next thing I remember was a light tapping on the glass. Morning sun creeping over rooftops. A familiar face standing beside the truck. Aaron, my older brother. Still in his gym clothes, coffee in hand. Colt, he said, low and steady. Get out of the truck. I opened the door. He handed me the coffee and sat on the curb next to me. No questions. No pity. Just presence. Monica called Mom, he said after a long pause. Told her there was a misunderstanding. Said she wanted help fixing things. I scoffed. That what we're calling betrayal now? Aaron didn't smile. I'm not here to defend her. Then why are you here? He looked at me, straight. Because I know what it feels like to get blindsided by someone you trust. And I know the mistake most men make is pretending they're fine when they're bleeding out. I didn't reply. He continued, you don't have to decide anything today. But you need to think clearly. Not from anger. Not from pain. From truth. That word again. Truth. The thing Monica had weaponized. The thing I was now fighting to rebuild. I nodded slowly. She lied for months, Aaron. Used our seats. Let Ryan walk into a stadium where she was cheating on me. I can't even wrap my head around that. You don't have to, he said. Just don't let her keep any more of your peace. We sat there for a while longer. When he left, I didn't go home. I drove to a storage unit I kept across town, mostly tools, old photos, boxes we never unpacked after the move. I grabbed 2 bags, packed some clothes, a few essentials. Started calling listings for short-term rentals. By noon, I had a key to a small basement unit, 1 bed, no TV, old carpet that smelled like bleach. But it was mine. It was honest. I texted Monica one thing. I won't fight in front of our son. But we're done. No, let's talk. No, I need time. Just the truth, finally cutting through. She replied 2 hours later. Don't do this. Think about Ryan. I stared at the message, the irony of it. She hadn't thought about Ryan when she lied, when she kissed another man in our seats, when she looked me in the eye and told me to take him to the game alone. I didn't respond. That night, I sat on the mattress in the corner of the apartment with Murphy at my feet and Ryan's old baseball glove beside me. I wasn't whole, but I was finally free of pretending. 2 days passed. 2 long, bitter days. I stayed quiet, didn't call Monica, didn't answer her texts, didn't tell Ryan what had happened, either. I needed time to think, to process, to figure out how to protect him without destroying the image he still had of his mother. But inside, I was unraveling in slow motion. The lies weren't even the sharpest part. It was the details. The subtle things. The way she used to come home late on Thursdays. Late shift, she'd say, always with that tired smile. The sudden uptick in gym visits. Her laughter when I asked if she'd been texting someone new. The "just friends" line she tossed around so casually anytime I raised a brow. It wasn't just the cheating. It was the ease of it. The comfort she had lying to my face. By the 3rd day, James, my cousin and lawyer, called. You sure about this, Colt? He asked. If we file now, we start the process. She can drag it out if she wants. I'm sure, I said flatly. You got proof. I saw it. That's enough. He paused. Not in court. Not for custody. You want full control, you'll need to document this. I'm not trying to take Ryan away from her, I said. I just want peace. But I won't let him be raised in a house built on lies either. James was quiet for a beat. All right, I'll draft it. Just be prepared, this won't be clean. I hung up and stared at the ceiling of the rental apartment. Cracks ran along the drywall like veins under old skin. This place wasn't much. But it was honest. And right now, honest was the most valuable thing I had. That afternoon, I went back to the house while Ryan was still at school. Monica was working, or pretending to. I needed to see the place one last time before everything became paperwork and court dates. I walked through the front door with my spare key. The silence hit different now. The kitchen still smelled like her favorite candles. Lavender and vanilla, soft, warm, deceptive. The family photos were still up. Me, Monica, Ryan, all smiling like life was simple. Like betrayal hadn't lived in that house for who knows how long. I packed slowly. Clothes, books, a few keepsakes. Framed photos of my dad. Tools I'd left in the garage. One of Ryan's old drawings from first grade. A crooked picture of us both in matching baseball caps. The kind of thing you never realize means the world until it's all you have left from a better time. Then I went upstairs. The bedroom still looked the same. Her makeup on the counter. Her robe draped on the bedpost. But the bed, our bed, felt foreign now. Like it belonged to a stranger. I opened her nightstand drawer. Not to snoop, to look. And what I found made my stomach turn. Concert tickets. 2 of them. For a show 3 weeks ago. A Friday night I remembered clearly because I had to work overtime. She told me she stayed in and watched movies. But the proof was right there. 2 stubs, back to back. I didn't need to ask who went with her. I grabbed my duffel and walked out. No yelling. No tears. No goodbye. Just another brick in the wall between who we were and who we'd become. That night, I picked up Ryan from school. He asked if Mom was cooking dinner. I told him no, we were grabbing burgers, just the 2 of us. He didn't ask why. He just smiled and said, "Cool. Can I get fries this time?" I smiled back. "As many as you want, buddy." Because if there was one thing I still had left to protect, it was him. I met with Monica 3 days later. Not because I wanted to. Because James said it would be smarter to get one conversation on the record, face to face, in a neutral space. I agreed, but I told him I wouldn't go alone. He didn't argue. So there I was, seated across from her in a conference room at James's office, glass walls, cold chairs, nothing soft. The kind of room built for hard truths. She walked in like she hadn't cracked our life in half. Neutral colored blazer, polished shoes, hair neat, like appearances could still buy her grace. She didn't look like a woman who regretted anything. She looked like a woman who came to negotiate. James introduced us, gave a brief rundown of the meeting, then stepped out. Said he'd give us 30 minutes before returning. I appreciated that. It gave me the chance to look her in the eye without the cushion of legalese between us. Monica didn't speak first. That was new. So I did. "I'm not here for drama. I'm here for our son." Her lips parted. "So am I." "No," I said sharply. "You were here for someone else. And you were willing to gamble our son's memory of his family to get it." Her face twitched. Maybe anger, maybe shame, I couldn't tell anymore. "I made mistakes." "You made plans," I replied. "Mistakes are accidental. You had dates. You made time. You chose him over and over." Her voice wavered. "You think I don't feel like hell about that?" "No," I said calmly. "I think you're more upset you got caught in our seats." She sat back. "You weren't present, Colton. You haven't been for a long time. I worked. I provided. I showed up. But you were gone, emotionally. You never asked how I felt anymore. And instead of saying that, I said, leaning forward, you crawled into another man's bed." She didn't respond. Maybe because there was nothing left to say. "I'm not here to fight for a marriage that died months ago," I continued. "I'm here to make sure our son doesn't become collateral damage." Monica swallowed. "What do you want?" "I want full legal custody." Her eyes widened. "You can't be serious. I'm not taking him from you. I'm giving him stability. You'll have visitation. You'll still be in his life. But you don't get to lead it anymore. You think you're the better parent? I think I'm the consistent one." She looked away. I saw the fire flicker in her, the part of her that used to fight me over the littlest things. But now, she didn't have ground to stand on. "You'll drag this out?" she asked. "If I have to," I said. "But you know I'll win." She nodded slowly. defeated. What about the house? I don't want it, I said. You can keep the empty walls. I've already started building something real. For the first time, her confidence cracked. You're with someone. I didn't answer. She looked away. Is it her, Alyssa? Still, I said nothing. She didn't deserve that answer. Not anymore. James returned. Monica straightened her posture, wiped at her eyes like it would make her look stronger. We signed the initial custody draft. She didn't argue. As I walked out, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel angry. I just felt done. Done with the lies. Done with the justifications. Done with the version of me that waited for someone else's loyalty. That night, I took Ryan bowling. We ate too much pizza. He beat me 2 out of 3 games and made sure to rub it in. I let him. Because whatever came next, he deserved to feel like nothing had changed. Even if everything had. It's strange what survival starts to look like when the dust settles. You think it'll feel like victory, like some fireworks in your chest kind of moment. But most days, it's quiet. It's opening your eyes in the morning and realizing your first thought isn't about what she's hiding. It's being able to breathe without waiting for the next lie. 3 weeks after the meeting with Monica, the court approved our temporary custody agreement. I had Ryan 5 days a week. She got alternating weekends. It wasn't everything I wanted, but it was a start. And more importantly, it gave Ryan stability. He was doing okay. At least, as okay as a 10-year-old could be when half of his world got yanked out from under him. He never asked why I moved out. Never pressed for details. But kids are smarter than we give them credit for. He knew something was wrong. One night, after finishing his math homework, he looked at me and said, "Are you and Mom mad at each other?" I paused, set down my fork, looked him right in the eye. "We're figuring things out, buddy. But I'm always gonna be here for you. No matter what." He nodded slowly. "You still love her?" That one cut deeper than I expected. I loved her, I said honestly. But sometimes, people stop being who you thought they were. And when that happens, you have to make choices to protect yourself, and the people who matter. He chewed that over for a second, then asked, "Do you hate her?" "No," I said. "I'm just done letting her hurt me." He didn't say anything after that. Just leaned into my side and kept watching his show. But in that moment, I knew I gave him something Monica never could. Truth. That same weekend, I ran into someone I hadn't seen in years, Rachel, a friend from college. She transferred junior year, moved to the West Coast, and just recently came back to help her mom settle into retirement. I saw her at the hardware store, of all places, holding a pack of screws like she didn't trust any of them. Still reading instructions upside down. I asked, grinning. She turned, squinted, and then broke into a smile that hit harder than I expected. "Colton Reeves. Is that really you?" We caught up for nearly 40 minutes beside the paint samples. She hadn't married, spent most of her 20s traveling, said she only recently slowed down enough to actually sit still without feeling like she was wasting time. When I told her about the divorce, she didn't flinch. No pity in her voice. Just quiet understanding. "You always gave too much," she said. "To the wrong people." Before we left, she gave me her number. "Just in case," she said. "Sometimes the second chapter's better than the first." I didn't text her that night, but I thought about it. Not because I was looking to replace Monica. Because for the first time in a long time, the thought of someone new didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like possibility. That Sunday, Monica dropped off Ryan late. No apology. No explanation. Just a quick, "Traffic was bad," as she handed over his backpack. I didn't argue. Didn't comment. Just nodded, took my son's hand, and walked back into a home that was finally starting to feel like one. As the door closed behind us, Ryan kicked off his shoes and ran toward the living room. Murphy barked, tail wagging like nothing had changed. And maybe, for us, nothing had. Because even if Monica was part of our story, she wasn't the ending. Not anymore. I didn't reach out to Rachel right away. Not because I wasn't interested. Because I wasn't rushing. After everything with Monica, I promised myself the next time I opened my life to someone, it wouldn't be out of loneliness. It would be because they earned a seat at the table, not because there was an empty chair. But life has a funny way of nudging you when you least expect it. It was a Thursday afternoon, late fall, crisp wind curling through the alley behind the shop where I'd started picking up side work again. Oil changes, brake jobs, basic stuff. Work with rhythm. Work that keeps your hands too busy for regret. I just finished replacing a timing belt when my phone buzzed. "Rachel, I just passed by the field near the rec center. Remember when you fell off your bike and swore you cracked your ribs?" I laughed out loud. Right there, covered in grease. Me, I was trying to impress you. Rachel, it worked. For like 10 minutes. That night, I called her. We talked for an hour. Then again the next night. Then we met for coffee. Not a date, just a meet-up. Two people who knew how to speak without pretending. And I'll say this, Rachel didn't ask about Monica right away. She didn't look at me like a broken man. She looked at me like someone who deserved better and was finally figuring that out. The next weekend, I told Ryan we were going to the park. Is Miss Rachel coming? He asked casually, like it wasn't the most loaded question I'd heard in weeks. Why do you ask? She helped me pick a donut last time. She's cool. Kids are funny. They don't care about the baggage, the timelines, the social rules. They care how you make them feel. And Rachel made him feel seen. That mattered. We tossed a football around, fed ducks, watched Murphy lose his mind trying to chase a squirrel across the water. Rachel didn't hover. She didn't try too hard. She just fit. The way Monica never truly had when it came to parenting. Later, while Ryan climbed the jungle gym, Rachel sat next to me on the bench, hands buried in her coat sleeves. I like him, she said. He's got your stubborn streak. Poor kid, I joked. She smiled. He's lucky to have you. That stuck. Not because of what she said, but how she said it. No pity. No performance. Just truth. That night, Monica called. I let it go to voicemail. She left one. Ryan told me you introduced him to someone. You really think it's time for that? I didn't respond. Because no, Monica. You don't get to question my judgment after what you did. You don't get to pretend to care when you gave up your place at the table the moment you chose another man in our seats. I played her voicemail for James the next morning. He shrugged. She's grasping. Let her. You're not breaking any agreements. She's mad you're moving on. I nodded. Good. Want me to reply formally? No, I said. Let silence answer her. Because some things don't deserve a rebuttal. Some things only deserve your distance. And right now, that was the loudest message I could send. It had been a little over 2 months since I left the house. 2 months since I watched Monica sit in my seat with another man. 2 months since the life I built got stripped down to drywall and silence. And in those 8 weeks, something strange happened. I stopped waiting for the pain. It didn't show up in the mornings anymore. Didn't creep into my lungs while I made coffee or hit me in the gut when Ryan laughed too hard at one of my terrible dad jokes. The pain had started to fade. Not vanish, but retreat. And in its place, peace started growing. I spent more time with Rachel, quietly, naturally. No pressure, no defining lines. We'd meet at the park with Ryan, get lunch after his Saturday practices, play cards at my place while Murphy snored under the table. It was never forced. It was just easy. And ease? That was new for me. But of course, peace doesn't come without its final test. It was a Tuesday afternoon when James called. She filed a motion. I froze. A motion? Monica. She's requesting revised custody terms. What kind of revision? She wants joint physical custody. Equal time. Claims she's being alienated. I clenched the phone so hard my hand went numb. She's barely used the time she has, James. She cancels. Shows up late. Doesn't even check in during the week. I know, he said. And I'm already building the rebuttal. But she's making it about your new relationship. Says Ryan's being exposed to someone inappropriate without consent. I laughed. Once. Bitter. She's calling Rachel inappropriate. James sighed. She's playing angles, Colt. You're happy. That's all she needs to feel threatened. I hung up and sat in my truck outside the school. Ryan was still inside, finishing up a math club meeting he never let me forget. I stared through the windshield and let the rage build, not at the motion itself, but at the timing. Monica didn't care about equal time. She cared about control. About seeing me build something after her and realizing she was no longer needed. And instead of stepping back, she reached for the only leverage she still had, Ryan. That night, I told Rachel. She didn't react the way Monica might have hoped. No panic. No tears. Just calm concern. She's going to come after you through him now, Rachel said. I won't let her. She doesn't want custody, she added. She wants proof you're still under her spell. I nodded. Then I'll give her the opposite. We called James the next morning and began preparing. Statements from teachers, screenshots of cancelled visits, messages showing my consistency. The evidence stacked fast. And the deeper we dug, the more I realized, she never expected me to fight back. She expected the quiet husband. The man who made peace to avoid conflict. The man who stayed for the sake of the family. But that man, he died in Row G, Section 117, the moment she chose someone else. We were 2 weeks out from the court hearing. By that point, Monica had submitted a 4-page declaration, dressed in carefully chosen language, words like misunderstood, rebuilding, maternal balance, and of course, the golden one, parental alienation. But no amount of poetic phrasing could erase facts. James and I had built our own case. Her inconsistent pickups, missed weekends, a forgotten birthday party invite, Ryan asking if she was coming and me lying to protect his hope. I didn't want to go to war. But she brought the battlefield to my doorstep, and I wasn't about to lay down. A week before the hearing, I sat Ryan down at the kitchen table. I didn't give him details. Didn't sling blame. Just gave him clarity. There's going to be some changes coming, I said. I just want you to know I'm doing everything I can to make sure your life stays as normal as possible. He looked up from his cereal. Are you and Mom going back to court? I blinked. Why do you ask? He shrugged. She was on the phone yesterday. Said something about fixing the custody thing. I heard her say, he won't win. My heart ached, not just for me, but for him. For the fact that he heard that. For the fact that he understood more than a kid his age should have to. I reached across the table. Listen to me, buddy. This isn't about winning. This is about making sure you're okay. That you have a place where you feel safe, every day. He nodded. That's here. That hit harder than anything Monica could write. 3 days before the hearing, she showed up at my door. Unannounced. Standing outside like she had the right. Rachel was inside, folding laundry, soft music playing, and I could see the tension rise in her shoulders the second the doorbell rang. I answered. Monica looked polished. Different. Not the woman I married. Not even the woman I'd left. This version of her was calculated. Corporate. Cold. I don't want to do this in court, she said. Then why are we? Because you made it impossible to talk to you. I kept my voice flat. You mean impossible to manipulate? Her eyes narrowed. Rachel doesn't belong in our son's life. She does, I said. Because she shows up. Because she's honest. Because she doesn't use him to fill her own ego. Do you really want this to get ugly? I stepped outside, closed the door behind me. It already is. But not because of me. She crossed her arms. You're not the only parent here, Colton. You're right, I said. So act like one. She stared at me, lips tightening, the way they used to when I said something she couldn't argue with but didn't want to admit was true. You were never supposed to stop loving me so easily. I exhaled slowly. That's the thing, Monica. I didn't stop easily. You just made it impossible to keep going. And with that, I stepped back inside and shut the door. Rachel didn't say anything. Just handed me a warm shirt and brushed her hand against mine. Soft, steady, certain. Court came quick. And when I sat down across from Monica in that courtroom, with James beside me and my truth fully documented, I didn't feel nervous. I felt ready. Because some people play games. Others show up with receipts. And I was done playing. The courtroom smelled like wood polish and stress. It wasn't dramatic. No shouting. No slammed fists. Just the quiet ticking of a wall clock and the occasional shuffle of paperwork. But sitting there across from Monica, with the judge flipping through pages of our lives, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. Not even a little. The rage had burned out somewhere between Ryan's bedtime stories and Rachel's hand in mine on a quiet Sunday morning. I hadn't just moved on, I'd evolved. Monica spoke first. Her lawyer used phrases like, committed mother, disruption of routine, and, concerns about new influences. They painted her like a woman trying to reclaim balance, not someone who traded a decade of marriage for a stranger in a stadium seat. I didn't flinch. James stood when it was our turn. He didn't posture or raise his voice. Just facts. Dates. Cancellations. Screenshots. Ryan's school performance since the split. The difference in consistency, attendance, emotional stability. Then, the judge turned to me. Mr. Reeves, he said, adjusting his glasses, do you have anything you'd like to add? I stood, looked at Monica for a moment, not with hatred, not with pity. Just clarity. I'm not here to punish anyone, I said. But I'm also not here to pretend. My son deserves truth, stability, presence. I'm not perfect, but I'm consistent. And I won't let him grow up thinking love is supposed to hurt. The judge nodded, scribbled something, then silence again. 10 minutes later, it was done. Primary custody, awarded to me. Visitation, scheduled, structured, and supervised until further notice. Monica didn't make eye contact when we left the courtroom. I walked past her like she was just another file folder on a desk I no longer worked at. Later that evening, I picked Ryan up from school. He came running out of the building, backpack bouncing, a half-eaten granola bar in his hand. "How'd it go?" he asked. I smiled. "We're good, buddy. We're really good." That night, Rachel made spaghetti, her idea of celebration. She lit one candle, played some Otis Redding, and told me I looked like a man who'd just come back from war. Maybe I had. I stood on the porch afterward, beer in hand, Murphy at my feet, Ryan's laughter echoing from inside. Rachel stepped out, wrapped her arms around my waist, leaned into me like home. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Better than okay." And I meant it. Because sometimes life doesn't give you warnings. It just rips the floor out and dares you to build again. And when you do, when you build from truth, from pain, from lessons burned into your skin, you don't just survive, you live better.